If you have ever struggled with juggling multiple levels of history in your homeschool, well, then you are in the right place. Today, I'm going to show you how you can combine all of your kids and do the same strand of history together using a morning basket. And stay tuned until the end when I share a wonderful resource that you can use to make history come alive for all of your kids together in your homeschool. Now, one of the moms in our morning basket community is Bridget, and Bridget is absolutely in love with our history-based morning time plans and how they allow her to teach all of her kids together at one time. She especially loves the book lists that we include with the plans, and she said that the going deeper links in our modern history morning time plans were some of her absolute favorite activities for the year. My name is Pam Barnhill, and I have helped thousands of homeschoolers create doable systems, beat burnout, and bring more joy to their homeschool days. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can do history with all of your kids together in your homeschool. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is history as a subject. So one of the things that we need to establish right up front is that history is a content area subject in our homeschool. It is not a skill-based subject for our homeschool. So when you think about subjects, they really fall into these two categories, the content and the skills. And the skill-based subjects are subjects like mathematics and learning to write, composition, reading, things of that nature, where kids kind of have to move at their own pace. You really can't teach your 7th grader and your 7-year-old together because they're at completely different levels in learning these skills. But content area subjects in our homeschool are subjects like history, science, literature to a large extent. These are things where we can actually include our kids across a wider age range and allow them to learn together, because these content area subjects are where we can really focus on building a love of learning for our kids. And another thing is, we think about, when you're learning math, you have to learn it sequentially. You kind of have to learn addition before you get to the concept of subtraction, and you really need to learn multiplication before you can get to the concept of division. But with things like history, you really can learn history in any order that you want to. So it's such a fun way to follow your kids' interests, and it means that your 4th grader does not have to learn state history. Your 1st grader does not have to do ancient history. Your 3rd grader does not have to do American history. Those are really kind of false feelings that we sometimes have about history because that's the way we've always known it to be done, and it's really not the case. So that gives you so much flexibility when it comes to teaching history in your homeschool. Okay, so how do we go about doing this? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to find a spine to use. And a spine book is really a book that gives you kind of an overview of history through a specific period. So you're going to choose the period that you want to study, and then you're going to find a spine for that period. And that's going to give you the big general overview of that time period. And there's so many great homeschool history spines out there. One of the ones that we used when my kids were little was Story of the World. That's a really good one. And then Genevieve Foster, those books are some particularly good spine books as well about different eras of history. So choose your spine book, and you're going to start with that. That's something that you're going to read to your kids every single week out loud in your morning time. Now, once you have your spine book chosen, you're going to then come in and supplement around that book with picture books. Now, if you have some older kids, hold on just a second before you think, there's no way I'm going to do picture books with my older kids. Actually, picture books are written at a much higher level of language because it's meant for parents to read the books aloud to kids. And so there's very sophisticated language use in picture books. They're usually very well done, have fascinating stories, and all the wonderful illustrations. Now, sometimes it's hard when you have teens. They get to feeling, I'm a little bit above these picture books. But if you can just keep them reeled in, they will find that they actually enjoy them quite a bit. As an adult, I enjoy picture books quite a bit and really love learning from them. So you're going to take the things that you're most interested in and add some really well done picture books about those topics to supplement in around the spine reading that you're doing. Okay, so after you've done some reading to your kids, the next thing you're going to want to do is have them narrate back or tell back to you what you've read. And you can do this by asking them some questions. So, what was your favorite thing that happened today? Can you tell me 5 things about the Oregon Trail? Or describe blank, like describe a covered wagon, and have them do that description back for you. And they're just basically going to be sharing what they've learned. Now, if you have a bunch of kids around the table, you can actually do a couple of different things. You can start with the youngest and let them tell what they know first, and move to the oldest child and have everybody add additional information. It gets a little challenging for your oldest kids when all the younger ones kind of suck up all the great facts and they have to come up with something new. But you can also roll a dice. So after everyone has listened, because you never tell them ahead of time who's going to narrate, then you roll a dice, everybody's assigned a number, and that person is the person who gets to tell back something from the reading that day. For more great ideas on narration, check out my interview with Sonia Schaefer from Simply Charlotte Mason. We recorded an entire podcast on what narration can look like in your morning time and some troubleshooting for when things don't go quite so easy with it as well. So the next thing you want to do is you want to level up the history for your older kids. And there are a few different ways you could do this. So you have your entire family together in morning time, and that's all the history that your elementary students, even up into some of the middle school years, it's all of the history that they need. But as they start getting older, you want to level up some of the history for them. And you can do this by having a separate history section in the day where your older kids add on some more information and some more exercises. I'm going to show you what those look like in just a minute, or give you a few ideas. But you could also add something like a history-based writing program. IEW has some that we have used in the past, and they're really awesome. This American history-based or ancient history or Middle Ages-based writing programs. And so the older kids get a lot more history, and they learn how to write about history, and they learned writing and composition in the process. So you really are kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, leveling up the history for your older kids and getting your writing and composition in. Another thing that you can do is make it more interesting for your older kids by adding in things like videos and games and documentaries and movies. So maybe these things would not be appropriate or hold the interest for your younger kids, but your older kids can certainly tap into some of those things. Using historical documents, first-person documents, are another great way to bring more interest and more depth to history study for your older kids. And they can do that during their separate history time as well. And then finally, having them write some of their narrations and write reports about what you were reading earlier in the day levels up that history once again. And finally, the last thing you can do to make your history more interesting and bring your entire family together for the study of history is to add culture and not just events and dates to your history study. You really want to dig into the music and the art and the poetry and the stories of a certain time period. And one of the best ways to do that is by using our history-based morning time plans. And you can dig deeper into all of those different subjects. And the great thing about that is your high schooler probably doesn't know any more about the art or music of a time period than your little kids do. And so everybody can be learning about all of this stuff together at the same time. I mean, honestly, as a mom, I don't know a lot about those things, and so it's a lot of fun for us to learn all of this stuff together. If you want more information about our homeschool history plans, check out the Your Morning Basket Plus membership. There we have a 4-year cycle of history plans that you could use along with just about any 4-year spine in your homeschool. And if you're adding those extra picture books and reading to what you're doing and doing all of the activities in the morning time plans, it really is enough history for your elementary school student. You don't have to add anything else. So thank you so much for watching today's video on how to do history with all of your kids together in a homeschool morning basket. If you liked this training and would like to watch more, be sure to subscribe or hit the notification bell so you will be notified when we have a new video.